So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking you to another very, very important question that will give you the opportunity to get to know a lot of things that you do not know. Mr. Buba Bertrand, a lot of people know that the outgoing Executive Bureau of CDCQ has done a lot of things. They worked so hard to bring the community to where it is now. At the same time, or we can say on the contrary, some other people have that the outgoing executive did almost nothing, that they failed. What do you have to say about this? Being a very strong member of that executive bureau that is outgoing.
What I would like to say first is that the definition of failure is relative. By the way, everyone has a right to their opinion. So when I say the definition of failure is relative, I mean what you see as failure may not be what I see as failure.
It's failure, that's right.
Now, for those people who think that the outgoing executive or leadership failed, my question is, what is their baseline?
Correct.
What are you judging them against? What is the vision? What is the mission? What are the objectives? If you understand the mission, the vision, the objectives, and what was promised you by this leadership during their 2-year mandate, only then can you be able to make judgment.
Correct.
And even if you are making judgment, it should be not to say categorically that they failed. It should be to what extent did they satisfy these objectives. I would like to let you know that more than 50% of those who are in this our social media platform have not attended a single GA out of the 3 that we successfully organized.
Very correct.
They have not gone through the charter, otherwise called our constitution, which states the vision, the mission, and the objectives. They are unaware of this. They did not attend the GA to see what this leadership promised to offer to them, the agenda for the year. So how are you making your judgment?
We might want to ask from which premises?
So, I mean, like, where are you coming from?
Yes.
This is the question that you should ask yourself. Now we have 10 objectives, and I would like to enlighten those who are not aware or those who have not had time to go through the charter of the objectives and to point out our achievement against this objective.
Correct.
Now you have here, in our charter we have the aims and objectives. Number 1 says to safeguard the interests of all Cameroonians. In this light, we have been able to have partnerships with Ethiopia Airlines.
Right.
We have been able to have partnership with FIFPro. We have been able to have partnership with Aramex.
You might want to, I'm not cutting you short, you might want to, when it will be convenient for you to highlight how people benefited from some of this partnership that was signed, especially Ethiopian Airlines, because a lot of people say they did not benefit something from that. Maybe you want to continue reading the objectives and you will have to come back to highlight some of those benefits.
Now, the second objective says that to form a non-political, non-profitable, non-religious community geared towards linking Cameroonian sons and daughters in Qatar. Now, how did we do it? We succeeded in registering at least 80 Cameroonians that have, through us, succeeded to get in touch with the embassy, get their documents certified. When we talk of to create a platform that facilitates the acquisition of legal documents, that's the point I was trying to highlight. That we successfully registered documents up to 80 in number, facilitating them to get to Saudi, to get authenticated and back to us, and these documents were released to Cameroonians. Now, the next objective says to solicit for a full functional embassy, and there were strategies put in place. Go online, you will see a lot of videos that we have had the audacity to talk to the authorities that be about the plight of Cameroonians owing to the lack of embassies we have here. We have been able to do that on many TV stations, including Canal 2, Equinox, and I've written so many letters, including one to the presidency.
These are some of my Edibos studio.
Including Edibos studio.
I will never mention that.
You see, so we talk of to meet at intervals that should be decided by the executive committee in consultation with the General Assembly. In 2 years, we were able to successfully organize 3 GAs. Come to think of it, 3 GAs.
That's right.
You see? Now,
including during trial moments of COVID-19.
Including during the time
Correct.
we had the COVID, we successfully organized these GAs. Now, we talk of to create a platform for moral and or professional orientation to Cameroonians who wish to develop themselves. I am here. There are other people that are organizing classes to help Cameroonians.
Great.
In terms of moral, we sanction people, including our own treasurer. We had Mr. Eric there, he was a treasurer. We sanctioned him because he went against the norms.
The norms of the community.
I mean, this is part of what we do to groom Cameroonians to grow up in a very moral way. So these are some of our achievements. I mean, I'm talking about some, not all. There is no time.
Great, of course. We want to list all of those achievements here. We will sleep. I know very well that the outgoing government, just as other people know, they have done a lot. And as you are listing them here, perhaps you want to add more things.
No, what I would like to say is that Cameroonians, if you want to make a judgment, you should have a baseline. Go and read through the mission. Go and read through the vision. Go and read through the 10 objectives which we have in our charter. Go to the agenda that was released on the day of this administration took over. Read about what they promised you they were going to do. Put these things on one side, and then only then will you be able to pass judgment on them.
Very good. Now, we go back to the question I was trying to introduce when you started presenting these objectives. And of course, it's not just signing partnerships. Have Cameroonians benefited from these partnerships you mentioned? For example, Ethiopia Airlines.
Now, with Aramex, we had a 10% discount. There is a confusion somewhere. People say that it is true when you apply using their application.
So Ethiopia.
Ethiopia Airlines. If you apply using their application online, you get a natural 10%. But in addition to that, we as Cameroonians, on the basis of the partnership we had with them, there was a code that gives us another 10%. That's in addition to the natural 10%.
People need to understand this.
Yeah, this is what people, there was a code that was not released to the community. We only give you that when you want to use the airline, we book for you and use that code.
It's very important for people to know that, especially new members of this community, to know that an announcement was made on the platform, making Cameroonians to know that there is a code. Whenever you want to use it, contact so and so person. So it should not be like it was a kind of secret something.
It was not secret at all. When we signed this partnership, the same day we signed it, there was a communique in the house, and a copy of that communique was shared, but the code was hidden. Because we don't want it's only for
public.
These are some of the benefits. With Aramex sends documents for 250, but we had a partnership with them that enables Cameroonians to send for 150. So these are the interests. When we talk of safeguarding the interests of Cameroonians, these are things we are talking about. The achievement of the outgoing exco or leadership is very clear. It's written everywhere. We have been so vocal to talk about the plight of Cameroonians, not just only on our national stations or stations within our national territory, but even on international platforms.
That's right.
Including Al Jazeera. We had the opportunity to go there, and we had to. I mean, this is for the interest of the community. We were not doing it to get name for ourselves. Some people have termed us as celebrity leaders. Well, what they mean by celebrity leaders, I don't know. But if I understand, they are talking about leaders that are always there. We took an oath that will always be there. So we will always be there. However you describe us, it's not our problem.
That's right.
We will always be there. So these are some of the achievements.
Correct.
It's handwritten, it's written everywhere. For those who want to see, the thing is, people have refused. They don't want to see it. And there are people that have not been with us from the time we started, so they don't know this thing. Now there are people who understand what we have achieved, but they don't want to pronounce it.
That's it.
They have educated the new ones, people who are just joining the community, to think that this set of leadership is a bunch of nonsense people, which is not true.
Which is not true.
And that is the reason why when they are asking people to submit their candidacy, they don't want to. Because a group of a cabal will come out and will be challenging them and will be making nonsense of them, and then just twisting things. You see a cup and you call it a pot. This is not good. This is not Cameroonian.
It is not, really. And I think that is just like you mentioned, a good number of people would have wanted to serve as executive members in the executive bureau of this community. But because of what has transpired recently, I mean, all the insults on people who have really sacrificed, I mean, pro bono. Nobody's paid for it, but they really worked so hard. They call names as a pay.
I am telling you, Eddie Bobo, there were times that we had meetings up to 1 a.m.
Right.
There are times, I'm talking to you, the community is still owing some of us because we removed money from our pocket and gave when the coffers was dry.
It's empty.
And we have not been able to recover that money. We didn't do it to show off.
Correct.
I mean, we understand that as leaders, there are some sacrifices that you must make. Our families, we disconnected from our families. We spent time to serve, having meetings late into the night.
Correct.
But what we get was insult, you know, but we understand. I mean, not everybody would like your administration. Not everybody would like you as a person. We are conscious of that, and that is what has not. That's what gives us the courage to continue to be there, to continue to vie in for positions.
Maybe you might want to say a few things about the beautiful initiative where the community or the leadership embraced and brought in the community to participate in the blood donation at Hamad Medical Corporation.
I forgot.
Very
that was,
important.
I mean, thank you for bringing that. In fact, we went to, I mean, this is part of sensitization. There are many people that before now did not know that there is a Cameroonian community, did not even know that there is a country called Cameroon.
That's right.
But it is because of outings like this one that people get to know we have a country like this. We don't just have a country like this in Africa, but we have them represented here and coming to do blood donation. I mean, this is very important. This is
very, very
one
important.
of the major milestones as far as our achievement is concerned.
And a whole host of activities that took place as well during the FIFA Arab Games that were organized. I saw how Cameroonians displayed, I mean, during performing traditional dances and all of that.
You know, I will tell you that
FIFA World Cup.
Even the government is surprised by the number of persons that are in Qatar.
That's right.
But it is due to our outings that they get to know that there are not just Cameroonians here, but there is the level of vibration.
Vibrant group of Cameroonians
that are here.
Yeah.
I mean, it is through these outings that people get to know. And when we are asking for an embassy, I think people will be asking how many Cameroonians are there.
Here.
It was part of the agenda of the 2-year mandate that this exco had to make sure that Cameroonians are registered. We had close to 200 Cameroonians that were registered with their cards.
The membership
card.
Impressive.
Close to 200 members. Now, the thing only slowed down because of this, I mean, the rising up of this cabal that came and punctured, and everything just went back as if it was 2013, like we just came into Qatar. Eddie Bobo, we have highlighted the achievements.
That's right.
They are there.
Like we said, we want to do all. We will sleep
there will be no time.
That's right.
But what we are saying, we cannot boast that we achieve them to 100%.
Sure.
To be very candid with you.
And no government does that.
And no government does that. And so we want to say, if you are making judgment, it should be to what extent were these objectives or the mandate promised you were met. This is, I mean, we should talk like this. When you sound like this, we know you have a balanced mind. Right. But when you just say outrightly that these guys failed, I reject that. It's unfounded.
That's
true. And the major challenge we face is uniting Cameroonians. This is the major challenge we faced. I don't know, maybe because of the strategy that was in place, but if you ask me, I would say the strategy we put in place was good. Now, to unite Cameroonians, or to bring Cameroonians from all over Qatar, we have our social media platform, our WhatsApp group, our Telegram group, Facebook page, and I think maybe in the we are going to introduce TikTok. This new government is an advice of them. We should introduce TikTok because it's very captivating.
That's true.
So we had this platform, and one of the strategies we also employed was that we brought in or introduced what we call auxiliary administrators. Call them governors if you want. Now, these governors were in charge of, you live in Matakadim, for instance. I live in Atumama. I'll be able to know Cameroonians that are living in Atumama. You will be able to identify and know Cameroonians that are living in Matakadim, for instance. Now, we appointed governors in these areas so that they can help us to identify Cameroonians in these areas and then bring to the central administration. I think that was one of the best strategy which we employed in place. So I want to say that if we organize sporting events, many sporting events we organize, especially prior to our GA. We did that. The videos, the evidences,
everything is there.
Everything is there.
That's so very much for that wonderful response. And one of the main, the main focus or the main goal that the Cameroonians in Qatar have been pursuing is the embassy, to have at least a consular or a consulate here in Qatar, if not an embassy. How far have we gone with this?
How far have we gone? See, we started with how do you call it? We started protesting with the pen.
Okay.
We have written a number of letters to the hierarchies. We have had meetings with them as well. There is no stakeholder, no authority that we are opportune to meet and we don't express our plight. There is none. And also during the time of, during FIFA, we spent a good number of our time during our outing talking about the lack of embassy here in Qatar. So I think that is the first step. You write to them, that's the first step. We know that they are getting these videos. We know they are getting this information. We are aware. But that is, it's a progressive something. So, an embassy is not given in a year or in a day.
That's right.
Even this new exco will not bring an embassy next year or within their mandate, will not bring. But at least there will be some level of progress.
Exactly.
It's a work in progress. Yeah. So if we come together now, that's the first thing. All of us come together. Now, all of us register. Let us have a reasonable amount of, or number of Cameroonians that will register.
Correct.
And then, so that if we are going to the powers that be, we will tell them these are Cameroonians in Qatar up to this number. Correct. I think this number warrants us to have at least a consulate, at least, if not a full-fledged embassy. So that's it.
You're probably going to be a member of the next government, we can call it the Executive Bureau. Is there anything which is going to be added as part of the objective? I mean, I don't want to be pushing you to let the cat out of the bag because the government has not been put in place yet. But looking at these objectives, do you think after a few years that have passed, there's something we missed or the outgoing Executive Bureau missed to put on this
I am not sure that these objectives, like I said, was not achieved 100%.
Okay.
I think that it's time for this new government to enforce it or change strategy, because these objectives, they are 10 in number, and I think it captures all the issues that we may want, we may have in future as Cameroonians.
Okay.
I think it captures all. We may need to change strategy or enforce the existing strategy.
We might want wrapping up with this very, very important point, talking about the objectives and achievements of the outgoing Executive Bureau, so that people can be made to understand that the Executive Bureau really did something great. Maybe you might want to say a few last words as far as this is concerned before we wrap it up.
Particularly to the incoming executive, I want to remind them again that come and serve the community with your heart. The community is not looking for PhD holders, no. The community is looking for people with a good heart.
Correct.
And more than 90% of the old executive is leaving. It is time, let's see the new strategy that will be in place by the new exco, or let's see how much enforcement they are going to add to the already existing strategy.
Wow. Thank you very, very much, Secretary Buba Bertrand, the outgoing secretary and undoubtedly the incoming Secretary General of the Cameroonian diaspora community here in Qatar. I'm sure you got enough of what you wanted to know, and we want to also encourage people who have benefited from all of these things, people who have experienced all of this thing we're talking about.
To be vocal.
Yes, to come up
They
and
should not only be criticizing.
Exactly. Let them testify.
They should come out and say, I benefited.
Exactly.
These are testimonies that are there. Only that we don't want to be calling names of people that are benefiting from the system that we put in place.
My humble self, I actually don't want to talk about it, because they might say, because I am also part of the executive, the outgoing executive, and they will say, okay, you are the people who benefited. So it was the first time when I used the code. That was when I was traveling to Cameroon in 2021, and I used that code, and for the very first time, I paid flight for less than 3,000. That was around 2,000 something because of that. So I'm testifying as one of those people who benefited from this.
And the welcome song too. Ole, ole.
And of course, ole, ole, the welcome song. Ladies and gentlemen, that was authored by my humble self and the rest of the Doha Entertainment crew members.
And you were supported
that's it.
by the executive.
Exactly.
This is part of the thing that we said. We need to create a platform where Cameroonians help one another.
Exactly. At a certain point, we
are
got
looking
stuck
for talents like you within the community that we can also support.
That's right.
You see, you wash my hand, I wash your own.
I wash your own. I can remember when the chairperson, the outgoing chairperson, called me and said that we have a small package for you people. We see how you're struggling to come up with that beautiful initiative of the World Cup song. And he presented that package, which all of us, the members of Doha Entertainment crew were very happy with. And
just to add one thing, I noticed something that which I want to say to those who are going to cast their vote.
Okay.
Please don't look at the person like their personality. Look at people who can deliver. I say so because there are Cameroon, like if you are coming from my tribe, I want to go and vote you. Well, it should not be so.
That's true.
We have over 216 tribes in Cameroon, a good number that are represented here. If the leader that is coming up is not coming to serve your tribes, your kinsmen, he's coming to serve Cameroonians.
That's true.
So this attitude of, because we belong to the same socio-cultural group,
region,
so I have to vote you. Even I don't see your manifesto. I want to say
that is actually SG. I want to say that's actually what is killing Africa, because people are focused so much on the tribes and religion and things like that. So much so that even if they see something good in you, the fact that you're not coming from their area, they will not consider.
So we don't want these things to be existing within our community. Correct. We are outside of Africa. We shouldn't behave like some primitive people.
Right.
Go in for competence. Go in for people that have convinced you they will deliver. Don't go in because they are coming from your tribe, you are working in the same company. No, it shouldn't be like that.
That's right.
It is time for this community to take shape, and that is why we insisted that the embassy has to be present. We insisted the embassy has to, because we don't want the community to be hijacked again by a group of individuals.
Correct.
Based on their connection they have. I have the contact of almost all the staff at the embassy, but I don't go to discuss with them.
Correct.
Each time, if I go to discuss with them, is about the community.
The community.
I don't even sit sometimes to say hi. No, I don't do it. But if I'm going to them, I want to go and bring a problem that the community is facing.
Is facing that needs solution.
I will not take advantage of my having their contact, and I want to
make your own personal arrangement
no.
of things.
It shouldn't be like that. When they talk of old system, that is the old system we are referring to, where a stakeholder, major stakeholder, should get to the community through proper channels.
That's right.
Not through an individual because they have some personal relationship they built some time ago. I'm not saying that people should not have their personal relationship. They should have it. But if you want to deal with the community, use the proper channel and deal with the community.
Correct.
That's one of the old systems we are talking about. The old system we are talking about is a system of non-accountability, where a Cameroonian will hijack the commonwealth of the community, sit on it, and a group of people are supporting it. This is the old system we are talking about, and that's the reason we insisted that the embassy has to be here and watch. And we'll have to commit that these people that will be installed on June 2nd will be the one that will be communicating with the embassy and no other channel.
That's right.
If they have their private or personal channel, they should do it privately. But as far as the community is concerned, deal with the community using the right channels.
Correct. Thank you very much, Secretary General Buba, and you've given us a lot that we needed to hear. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Inside CDCQ with me and Secretary General Buba. We want to say outgoing Secretary General and undoubtedly the incoming Secretary General. And until some other time, maybe you have the last words to wrap up this one.
Cameroonians, I love you guys so much. I committed to serve this community since 2018, and I've not given it up, even with the pressure that comes with it. I'm with you guys, but I like people that are Sida. That's and people hate. They don't like you when you are Sida.
Yeah.
They like mini. I'm not part of that mini, and I will never be as
great,
especially as this community is concerned, because I know the cry. We receive at the secretariat. We receive mail. You read, after reading a mail, you will shed tears of what people are going through.
Correct.
Because of the lack of the embassy, or at least a consulate, you will sit and feel the pain. That is what gives me the courage to see, if I see any mini, I want to hit on it.
Correct.
Yeah. Cameroonians are suffering here. I have been privy to work in that office. I see it.
Correct. Thank you very much for those beautiful last words. And he says he loves you. And of course, it's not, there's no doubt about that. Until some other time, my name is Edmond Elime, and it was good to have Mr. Buba Bertrand in the studio today.
Thank you so much.
God bless you, sir, for what you're doing for Cameroonians in Qatar. Until some other time, ciao.
Bye-bye.